grew up in Amsterdam in a place called the Bijlmer. At that time was a neighborhood with not the best reputation, a lot of crime. Yeah, no, I think I don't necessarily regret going to Liverpool. That's not a regret. I'm just saying, like, if you analyze my career, maybe it could have been better to stay a year longer, to develop a little bit more longer at Ajax. You clearly see that Saudi is investing in to attract quality and to improve the league. I hope for them that they can sustain it.
Ryan Babel, thank you for joining us on Koora Break Extra Time. Let's start right at the beginning. Take us back to your childhood.
Where about my childhood?
Growing up in Amsterdam,
Yeah.
pre-football, and did you always want to be a footballer?
Yeah, no, I mean, as far as I can remember, I always wanted to become a football player. That was the culture, street soccer, playing outside with a ball, growing up before the internet technically existed. So all you can do was playing outside with a ball with your friends. Grew up in Amsterdam in a place called the Bijlmer. At that time was a neighborhood with not the best reputation, a lot of crime, a lot of activities that should not be supposed to happen in a neighborhood full of kids and stuff. But you know, I came from a good environment. I have two good parents. They were very tough. They helped me to stay on my both feet, and they made me what I am today.
And who's your biggest inspiration as a footballer at a young age?
My biggest inspiration as a football player, firstly grown up, was Patrick Kluivert. He was at that time already at Ajax. I think everyone was resonating with him as a player, but also as a person. Black kid who was a big talent. I think everyone used him as an idol growing up in Amsterdam.
His personality as well.
Yeah, and then later on it became Thierry Henry, the Frenchman. So these were for me, especially growing up, the two that I idolized.
And you joined the Ajax Youth Academy. Were you always a fan of Ajax? Was Ajax always your team?
Yeah, Ajax was always my team. I think Ajax was everyone's team at that time. They were superior. The 90s, that's where they, of course, for me and for many kids of my generation, stood out the most. They won the Champions League, of course, in the 90s. And I think it was everyone's dream to become one day one of those heroes, and for me it was nothing different.
And speaking of Ajax are one of the most famed youth academy in the world, producing not only the best but some of the greatest players of all time. What is it about the Ajax Academy that they're always regularly churning out such great talent? What is it about the environment, the coaching?
I think the Ajax infrastructure is, I would say, has a lot to do, of course, with the culture, in terms of, that they want to be the best. They make you believe that we are the best. And then they also immediately train you with that mentality as soon as you join the club. Of course, their trophy history speaks for itself. So, of course, that ego and that type of self-confidence comes along with it. And it's a mentality that immediately is getting shaped into your brain as a kid, and eventually you start to believe it, that once you play for Ajax, that you are the best, and that eventually resonates on the pitch by having the confidence and the ego to try and at least win against everyone.
Now your talent is shining at such a young age. And at a young age, you join Liverpool for at the time a big fee. Was for someone who'd lived in Amsterdam all his life, was it difficult to adjust without that support network that you had?
Yeah. It was difficult because this was the first time experiencing, of course, making such a transfer, but also at a young age moving abroad to a different country, living by myself. I was at that stage still living at my parents' place, so a lot changed in my life directly that I had to learn to adapt to, and yeah, it was not necessarily an easy time, but it was a time that I am now embrace, and it made me eventually into an adult, quicker on.
And what was it about Liverpool at the time that you chose them? Because I think Arsenal were linked, where you just said your hero was your favorite player was Thierry Henry.
Yeah.
I think Newcastle at the time were also interested. There were quite a few clubs interested. What was it about Liverpool that it was the team you chose?
Well, to be honest, Liverpool was at that time the only team that really actually made contact. And when they made contact, it's the way they expressed themselves, how much they wanted me. And, I'm very sensitive for feeling wanted and feeling appreciated. And that was one of the main reasons that got me to choose for Liverpool. I had a conversation, the very first conversation with Rafa Benitez at that time. And weird enough, that was a very good conversation. I felt the warmth and the appreciation in his voice of him joining Liverpool, and that was one of the main catalysts for me to choose for the club.
And Liverpool at the time weren't going through the best of time, but still, with that, with how long you were at the club, you still speak very fondly of the club, to the point that even whenever a Dutch player is linked with Liverpool, there's always the agent babble, with Gravenberch and Gakpo and stuff like that. What is it? What's the affinity that you have with it? What makes it such a special club for you?
I think what makes it special is the people, right? The fans, the people who were working inside the club. I think there's a culture in Liverpool that makes you feel welcome immediately, and it's also a culture that as soon as you leave, they won't forget what you did for the club. Now, of course, even though I was there for I think a spell a little bit under 4 years, I had my ups and downs. It was, of course, not at the peak of my career strength, but even though for what I've delivered, the supporters still remember me. They still have, in general, good memories. I still feel very welcome, and that is the main difference, I don't have that at many other different clubs. What you notice with a lot of different clubs is as soon as you leave, the fans and the club tend to forget you a little bit. And that is not the culture in Liverpool. So I think that's the main difference.
And after Liverpool, you go to Hoffenheim, spend 18 months there. How did you find your time there? And how would you compare at the time the Bundesliga with the Eredivisie and the Premier League?
I was very positive about the Bundesliga. I'm very grateful that I've played in the Bundesliga. I enjoyed playing there. Very nice games. The Germans know how to create good atmospheres. The stadiums are all very beautiful. But I do regret my time going there. I was kind of I would say a little bit pushed, to go there. It was also a time where I was in the national team and I felt the pressure of being dropped. Eventually, I chose Hoffenheim because it was a young team and I felt that I was going to get a certain responsibility to help the team improve. But then again, making a decision in such a short time frame, not knowing too much about the club, you find yourself in a situation that the football culture and the football vision was not aligned with your own visions. Had a few managers in a spell of 18 months, and they were mainly focused on running and a lot of kilometers during the games to be reached, rather than the actual football aspect of things. And I felt like that was an unfortunate event, because football's not just about running, and I actually believe the opposite. Like, if you very well positioned, you actually maybe don't even have to run a lot, because you're in possession of the ball. But again, like I said, it was a time that also still gave me a lot of good things and positive things back. I became a man there, learned for the first time what it meant to be in a team, to not be superior every game. So you had to really work hard, you had to defend as a collective. And maybe that was still, good for my career. But if you ask me again if I could turn that around, then I would definitely.
We'll definitely get to that.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump now, because you went to Fulham 7 years after you left Liverpool, and I believe you scored in Craven Cottage against them.
Yeah.
How was your experience at Fulham, and also how did the Premier League change in the 7 years that you were away?
Yeah, Premier League changed a lot. I think at that time, most of the teams were playing much better football. I believe in my first period in the UK, a lot of the teams were still kind of attached to the old ways of English footballs. Long balls, second balls, a lot of physical strength, and my time of Fulham, you already saw that most of the teams, they wanted to play good footballs, different type of managers, a lot of foreign managers, of course. And that made, I think, the difference in the Premier League. I think the quality is way better now compared to, I believe, the first spell. You had a handful of teams that were playing football, and the rest was very tough to play against. But yeah, I had a great time at Fulham. It was a short spell. I wish I was able to maintain longer. I was immediately at home. The club was amazing. The people treating me well. The fans, great relationship in a short spell. But Fulham is close to my heart for sure.
And you spent time at Deportivo La Coruña.
Yeah.
You spent a year in the Emirates with Al Ain. But the country that, let's say, you called home was Turkey.
Yeah.
You spent four different clubs.
Yeah.
And you kind of just kept going with goals, assists, with whichever club you played for. What was it about Turkey that you enjoyed the most?
I think the people. Also, again, the people, right? So I'm a sensitive person, as in, like, if you feel appreciated, then you stick along. And I think the Turkish people embraced me. They made me feel welcome. They treated me very well over the course of me staying there. And that is something that was important to me. And I had a great spell through the course of my career in Turkey. And that's the reason I think why I was able to maintain for such a long period to stay in Turkey.
And how difficult was it to because you played for both Galatasaray and Besiktas, how difficult was it to be a player for both clubs? Like, how did the fans take it? Like, when you moved to the other club?
I mean, of course, the Besiktas fans didn't take it well, but they have to understand that in football, nothing is just black and white, right? I had a great spell at Besiktas. I loved Besiktas. I still love Besiktas. I do know that Galatasaray was their rivals, but they also need to understand that, in position from a player who needs to make decisions, what's best for the player. At that time, before I joined Galatasaray, because again, I didn't go directly to Galatasaray. The Fulham was in between, and after I left Fulham, we got in touch with Besiktas to see if we were able to rejoin the team. And at that time, the club said they were not interested. So the fans at that time, they probably didn't or weren't aware of that. And then if a team as Galatasaray comes along and at that moment that is your only option to go, then you're going as a player. So of course I understand that fans are upset if you go to a rival team, but I think they should be more upset with the people at that time who were making the decisions in Besiktas, because Besiktas at that time was my initial first option. But again, you know, if you don't feel wanted, then you move on.
How would you? You've obviously played La Liga and Premier League and Eredivisie and Bundesliga. How does the Turkish Super League compare?
Turkish Super League is not easy. I think it's very underrated. I think it deserves more credibility. You see also today how many superstars are partaking in the league. It's improving every year. Of course, in my opinion, they can operate the financial side of things much better, because sometimes these clubs, they make decisions that financially is not always sustainable to stay in for such a long time in that realm of attracting good players. You see a lot of times when they swap presidents, all of a sudden the club gets a total different turning. But yeah, you know, if they are able to sustain and keep a certain foundation, I believe Turkish league can improve and get more credibility and hopefully more eyeballs in European games, you know.
Can it rival, you reckon, the Big Five leagues? Traditional Big Five.
Well, not yet, but I think, like I said, the course that they've taken now, the money that they are spending to attract quality, if they can sustain that, then I feel like over the course of the next 10 years, they, you know, can maybe compete, you know, so that is up to them.
And we're doing this interview now at Precision Football in Dubai with these amazing facilities.
Yeah.
And you, like we touched on this, you were at Al Ain from 2015 to 2016.
Yeah.
So about 10 years ago. How have you seen the growth of football in these 10 years in the region, in Dubai and particularly in Saudi Arabia?
Well, it's clear that Saudi Arabia has changed a lot. I think from my first spell here in the UAE, I haven't actually paid much attention to the football in Saudi. I remember at that time it was mostly UAE and Qatar who were you know, attracting a lot of European players. I think fast forward to today, I think even football here in the UAE has declined a little bit, also with maybe the financials that they are investing in attracting European players. You clearly see that Saudi is investing in to attract quality and to improve the league. I hope for them that they can sustain it. We have seen a lot of years ago with China who tried to throw a lot of money at players, and then it wasn't able to be sustained. So I hope for Saudi that they have a good plan to sustain that, and you know, by doing that, I think then the league can get more attraction and sustainability long term.
And two of your former teammates in the Dutch team, Gigi Wijnaldum and Steven Bergwijn, currently play in Saudi.
Yeah.
Have they spoken to you about the standard, the quality?
No, I haven't talked to them about that, to be honest. We of course keep track of each other on social media, but I haven't been able to talk about it.
We talked earlier about like certain regrets you had. You've scored goals, and it's your goals and assist record is wherever club you've gone to. Ajax, Liverpool, Ajax again, Al Ain, Deportivo, all the Turkish clubs. What are the regrets in your career? There's stuff that you would go back and change? I know for one thing that I think you said that you kind of wish you stayed at Ajax a bit longer.
Yeah, no, I think I don't necessarily regret going to Liverpool. That's not a regret. I'm just saying, like, if you analyze my career, maybe it could have been better to stay a year longer, to develop a little bit more longer at Ajax. The reason why I said that is because I joined Liverpool still as a young talent. I was still being seen as someone who needed time. And I believe staying at Ajax and becoming a man more, if you would then join a team such as Liverpool, then you join a team more as a arrived player, or more like a star. And I joined Liverpool as a young player. I was being treated as a young player, someone who needed time, someone who still needed to develop. and that of course had influence on my journey there. Maybe you weren't always been taken seriously as a player because you were young and you were maybe not mature enough, which I understand because I was only 20. So I think that was the main reason why I said like, hey, maybe afterwards thinking back, it could have been better for my career. Again, it's not a regret because I've enjoyed and be very grateful for my time in Liverpool.
But you would have probably liked to have joined maybe a year or 2 years.
Maybe that could have been more positive for my career at Liverpool and further. But yeah, again, the other thing that I did regret was joining Hoffenheim, so leaving Liverpool. So I think I wish I maintained Liverpool, even though at that period I wasn't playing a lot of chaos. I think Roy Hodgson beforehand was fired right before, and then you had interim coach Kenny Douglas coming, and so there were changes happening at Liverpool at that time, and I feel like if I was more patient, maybe those changes could have been positive for me. So I think that was the difference.
Let's turn it down a notch, just make it a bit more relaxing.
Yeah.
Who was the toughest player you ever faced? Whether as an opponent or as someone in training?
No, I mean, I faced many tough players, but and funny enough, a lot of times maybe that were defenders that I don't even know their name of. It's just, they were just had like, let's say, a very, very bad game against them every time. But for the interview's sake, I would say I would give it to Micon, the Brazilian, who was at Inter at that time. At that time, Champions League football against Inter, even though we won twice, for me was both, difficult
Tough games.
Yeah.
What was the favorite goal you scored or were involved in?
Favorite goal. Yeah, I think my very first goal, was against Derby County for Liverpool. I think that one was one of the goals that I would say, had a lot of class and was, in terms of the eye appeal, I think a very beautiful goal. Just my first goal for Liverpool, but for me that one stood out.
Is there a player you would have loved to have been a teammate? You would have loved to have been your teammates? You'd love to have played with on the same team?
Yeah, I think I envy all players who were able to be a teammate of Lionel Messi over their career. I think probably every day is a joy to see him from up close, probably, and I think those who experience that they have to know that it's very special to be part of this generation and see him up close every day. So I think for me, I think every player would want to be a teammate of Lionel Messi.
Is there a player you played with that surprised you at just how good he was?
That's a good question.
Someone like you wouldn't have thought, but when you trained with him or when you met up with him in like international camp for Netherlands or
That's a good question. Not directly. I think maybe it was. I think I've come across a lot of players, young talents who were extremely good, and I was expecting them to have a big career, and then somehow I don't know where they end up to, and then I was like, what happened, right? Because in training you can see they are talented and they have the ability, and that's why I realized like sometimes talent alone is not enough. So a lot of those guys, I probably don't even remember their names, but that was for me mostly in my career when I joined certain teams that I was like, hey, these players are really good, but why don't they have bigger careers, Yeah.
And you've played with a lot of talented players at club and international level. Give me your five-a-side. You can include yourself.
Five-a-side.
Any formation, whatever you want.
Yeah. So it was like one keeper and 4 players, or how?
One keeper, 4 players. Yeah.
Oh.
Unless you want to put an outfielder to be like her.
No, yeah. Keeper wise, I think
like an Edwin van der Sar keeper. Yes.
Yeah. I was thinking about Edwin. Yeah, I think Edwin for sure. Keeper for me. Keeper should nowadays be very good with the feet. I think he was one of the best keepers I played with, who was good with the feet, of course. As a defender, I would put in. Let me see. No, right. Let's go for the right side first. Right side, I would put Steven Gerrard. Left side, I would put Arjen Robben. As a striker, I can choose many strikers. I could say Ruud van Nistelrooy. I can say Van Persie. I'm a big admirer of Klaas-Jan Huntelaar. I think very underrated. But you can also put Fernando Torres there, of course. It's too many to choose from, I guess.
Close your eyes and pick one.
Huh?
Close your eyes and pick
one. Yeah. Let's put Van Persie in the striker.
And defense.
And defense, then I would go for a defender like Daniel Agger.
Dan Agger. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. You used to play football. You used to play sometimes 3 times a week between league and then European or a cup game.
Yeah.
How did you mentally prepare, and how did you unwind?
Well, you're in this autopilot, so it's constantly going forward, pushing. There's almost no time to think about how you want to prepare. It's just, you're in it. After a game, you have to recover, you have to sleep, you have to eat well, train again. Mentally, you're already looking at, okay, who's the next opponent? Which players you're going to come up against as a left winger? Trying to visualize how you want to play the game, trying to visualize how you want to defend your opponent. And that is just, as a football player, that's just, autopilot that you constantly go through. So there's almost no time to think about stuff. It's you're used to it. You just keep going. And of course, there's a difference if you play or if you're not always playing. So you have, of course, either recovery or you have to train extra. But that's just the nature of if you play a lot of games, traveling, you have to eat well, rest well. The traveling costs a lot of energy. Of course, being on the roads all the time, that was sometimes also very difficult if you have to play away. Had influence on your performances sometimes. But you try to do as much as you can to prepare and be ready for the game. And every player had to go through it.
Was it easier to? Obviously, it would have been easier to prepare for back-to-back home games or back-to-back away games.
Yeah. Home games were, of course, a lot easier mentally. Away games could have been, mentally sometimes draining. Yeah.
And what are your hobbies and interests outside of football?
Music has always been a hobby. Before I became professional, I was always a kid who was involved in music, playing in school bands, doing performances. So music has always maintained part of my life. Currently, already since 2009, running a music company with artists. So, I'm operating in the music business. Other interest. Nowadays, it's paddle, of course. It's a great sport, fastest growing sport, I believe. I get a lot of joy out of paddle. Try to play it 4 or 5 times a week. Other interest, hobbies, reading books, spending time with my children, and nowadays traveling, right? So it's not too long ago that since I retired, so try to finally go places that I never had a chance to, meet great people, learn about different industries, and that's currently my hobbies, I guess.
That was the next question. Favorite holiday destination, and is there somewhere you haven't ticked off that you want to do?
Favorite holiday destination. I would say I always feel at ease when I visit Miami, but I feel like I haven't seen a lot of other places yet. So, but as far as now, I think Miami is a great place for me, where I'm just chill and relax and can wind off. Other places that I still need to go. I need to go to a lot of places. I haven't been to enough places in Asia yet. You know, Bali obviously is a hotspot. I haven't been to Bali. I recently ticked off Japan. So Japan was a very nice place to visit. Definitely want to go back. But also I want to explore Africa, right? So Africa is also a place I haven't really explored. Of course, World Cup, I've been to South Africa, but it was for football purposes. So I have time to explore the world still. Yeah.
And Ryan Babel, the movie, which actor's playing you?
Which actor? Oh, good question. What's this actor called? Who was dating Lori Harvey?
The
British
guy from F1?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, I think he would probably be a good actor to play my role. Yeah.
And older Ryan would be probably Denzel, right?
Hey, yes, the best actor you can pick for that role.
And finally, what are your goals for the future, Ryan?
What are my goals for the future? I know where I want to be. Of course, I don't know how to get there. I let the universe and God decides what journey that will be. But I see myself being able to impact people's life positively, helping a lot of people, changing their lives for the good, trying to solve problems in the world. One thing, like I said, like when people ask me like, oh, do you support any charities? I'm like, I do, but not financially, because I don't believe in just transferring money to a charity for them to figure it out. Like, you never know what these charities really do with your money. So I prefer to do it myself. I want to impact it directly. And in order for you to really impact, you need to be, of course, very resourceful. So at the moment, my journey is to work on to becoming very resourceful so that I can actually have immediate impact on the charities that I want to help.
Ryan Babel, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you very much.